as I don't have my computer, so I'm using my phone. I'm at my daughter's house. My granddaughter got sick. I had to go pick her up at school, and I'm running late today because my battery went bad in my car. Now I have to get a new one put in, and it's just, you know, I'm living one of the rules right now. If it can go wrong, it'll go wrong, but nothing's going to stop me now. I won't stop believing. I won't comply, and I will not give in. That being said, I hope some people come on here shortly, but I understand if you don't. This has been a bad time for you. I was supposed to be on at 1:30, and it took me until, what, 2:30 to get on? 2:20. 2:20 to get on. So hello, Janet. Good to see you. Janet, as I was saying, I've been having car trouble. I had to pick up my granddaughter. Hi, Beth Shaw. I had to pick up my granddaughter. So Jeffrey, good to see you. And I'm going to do the best I can. Bill Woods, it's good to see you here. But what I thought might have been an alternator and would have cost me a whole lot of money, now it's only going to be a battery for about $140. So that's a big difference for me, and it helps out a lot. As I said, I don't have a whole lot. I was planning on doing this show at Ron's house like I always do, but my daughter called and said that she's Christmas shopping with her mother and my son, and could I go pick her, the little monkey, up at school. Ron just told me it was 2:22 a little bit ago. And it's good to see everybody on, Ian and Jeffrey and Janet and everyone. And guys, as I said, there'll be no music. So I'm going to start off with the kids and little Jimmy and that. And, you know, it's amazing how we're getting so close to Christmas. You know, talking about kids, there's two kids that's going to eventually be very, very close to me in my life. And that's the two kids that are Julia's niece and nephew. One of them is 10, one of them is 14, little boy and a little girl. The boy is 14. And you know, it's amazing because they have a day coming up the 19th. And it's called St. Nick's Day. And all you kids, I wanted you to hear this because, see, what you get for Christmas, and I mean, and I'm sure every one of you kids are spoiled rotten. Right, John? All of yours are, right? And it's just a situation that over there they have what's called St. Nick's Day. And over there you take your shoes off in the Ukraine when you walk in the door. And then what they'll do is on St. Nick Day, the 19th, they will hide candy into shoes. They will go and buy them maybe a little coloring book, or, you know, since they're getting up in age, maybe something a little bit nicer, or some candy under their pillows. And I told Julia, I says, well, this year, why don't you go ahead and try to get something for you and something for Masha, her sister, and something for your mom too, and all of you celebrate it. And then they don't celebrate Christmas on the 25th; they celebrate it on the 7th of January, which I believe wholeheartedly you're going to see next year. That's when we're going to be celebrating. I think that's when the whole world will be celebrating it, when we go to all of this new stuff. But kids, I'll save that for a little bit. But Jimmy, just be a kid. Just be a kid. Play. You know, Patriot Small Hank is trying to take up chess. And you know, there's someone in the group, and I'm not going to mention names, but there's someone in the group that gave me a chessboard. I've only played chess a couple times in my life, and the reason is my brother-in-law was really good at it. And one day when I was like 13 or 14 years old, you kids, you need to hear this story because it's funny. But one day when I was like 13 or 14 years old, my brother-in-law decided he wanted to teach me how to play chess. So he went to teach me how to play chess, and in the meantime, I beat him somehow. He wanted me to make a move, and I said, no, I want to make this move here. And when I did, I checkmated him. And I think that's how you win. I don't really know. I don't play it. But someone give me a chessboard that's with all political figures, you know, the hat and the vice president and everybody like that. It's pretty neat. And I was going to give it to him for Christmas, not because I don't want it. It's just I don't play chess. And as an 8-year-old, he's really taking it serious. So I'm not going to say his dad's going to give him one for Christmas, but that's the rumors I've heard, just in case he gets on the show, because he does that on occasions. Hi, Ann. Hi. I already talked to John and that. But, you know, just be kids, Patriot. Patriot 11, we're still working on looking at ranches and that because it's one of my heart's desires. I do ghosts, Bill Woods. It's one of my desires to have a ranch so we can bring kids and grown-ups and teach them how to ride and give them a place. See, I don't just want to have a ranch. I want to have enough land where I can put, cabins and nice cabins, maybe 2-bedroom cabins, 8 or 10 of them. And people can come and vacation there and learn to ride and learn what the country is about. Because there's so many people I'm from Boston, I'm from New York, you know what? People from Chicago, 60 miles south of me, have no clue what Buckingham, Illinois, or Herscher, Illinois, Kankakee, Illinois is about. Man, we live, kids, we live. We grew up playing hide and seek. We playing softball or baseball or basketball or football. And you know what? If you're a kid and you haven't won a World Series or a Super Bowl or an NBA title, if you haven't become the best boxer in the world, if you haven't won that at least 100 times in your mind, you need to be a kid. Because see, when I was a kid, if I couldn't find someone to play catch with me, I took a rubber ball and I'd throw it up against the schoolyard. And I would act like I was the pitcher. And of all the baseball I played, and as good as I was, I only pitched in one game my whole career. But I always was on the mound in my mind when I played by myself that I was winning World Series. How many of you kids have ever won a World Series? Or I grew up watching Pete Maravich play basketball, and I was Pete Maravich, because us white people, we don't have too many superstars, and Pete Maravich could do things with a basketball. And I would win NCAA championships. And then I go to the pros and I win NBA titles. And that's when it gets fun, guys. You got to dream. And still to this day, I think of these dreams. And how when I moved on the farm and I was the only one out there. And we just had a basket on a tree with some wood as a backboard. We made our own backboard. And I would go out there. Ron was in Germany and France, and Russ was my brothers, they was in Vietnam. It was just me, my mom, and my dad. And I won so many NCAA championships, trophies. I won so many NBA. I was the white Michael Jordan at 5'5", 5'6", 5'7". Man, nobody could guard me. You know why? Because there was nobody there. But in my mind, I was winning this. Have you kids done that? Patriot Karate Kid and Patriot Wyatt Earp. Patriot Wyatt Earp, I give you that nickname because of your name being Wyatt. But the thing is, have you watched Cowboys? Do you live the name I give you, or Patriot Karate Kid? Do you watch Karate Kid? Man, if you haven't watched every one of the Karate Kid movies, you need to binge. You need to binge on a weekend and take a whole day and watch every Karate Kid. Patriot Princess, our queen. Have you watched any movies about princesses and queens? I know you watch movies about sports. Grandma was showing a picture of an alcoholic beverage in a Ohio State mug. And I'm going to say right now, go Ohio State tomorrow. Beat the living bejesus out of Indiana. I'm an Illinois fan, but my second favorite team is Ohio State. Patriot Hunter, I know you're a good kid and you're probably just busy with the girls. Patriot Boogs, Boogaloo Boogie and Boogs. The 4 Bs. You guys, you don't know how fortunate you are to have all of your brothers and sisters right there. I know the oldest one is a teenager, and she's probably singing, "Why must I be a teenager?" But be a kid. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen yourself walking, if you're a girl and you haven't seen yourself walking, winning Miss America, or a princess, who loves to play sports, if you haven't won championships in your mind like me, why? Get off of the phone, get off of the computer, get off of the tablet, and be a kid. Jimmy, you're one of the smartest kids I know. If you haven't seen yourself as a future president, why? Patriot little Leona and little Elan. You know, you're a little bit young, but I can see in Leona in the videos and the pictures that Mike send me what they're doing. You know, with my grandkids, Patriot super gymnast. I'm telling you, when she told me she was going to take gymnastics, I said, why? She was not coordinated. I mean, in my mind, she's greatest in anything. She's my little sweetheart. But she worked and worked and worked, and you know, in her mind, she's won gymnastic events in the Olympics. You know, because that's what I teach them. Patriot 7 is always outside. When he was playing football, he was a kicker along with a running back and a defensive back. And he's always out there in the yard working on his skills. But I asked him one day, I said, have you ever won a Super Bowl? He said, what do you mean? I told him. I would bet you now he's won a Super Bowl, which he has, a real Super Bowl. But has he ever won a World Series? He's getting ready to play basketball. Has he ever won an NBA title? You know, Patriot, little monkey, which I got to go here in a minute for about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, because she's in the bathtub and I got to check on her. But have you ever won anything? The little monkey, you know, it was funny because she was sick. She had to come home from school sick. And as soon as I picked her up, I looked at her and said, where do you want to go? She said, Dairy Queen for lunch. You just threw up, but now you want to go to Dairy, because Grandpa was with her. Patriot Small Hank, I work with him all the time. He's into karate, but when I come up to him and go, yeah, he hides. And I'm working with him and I'm telling him, no, come back at me. Come back at me. Show me your defense. Show me what your attack is. And little Kira, I mean, sweetest little girl you ever want to meet. So that kind of concludes today's version of the kids. And you can tell I'm very excited to talk to the kids today. But right now, I got to take a timeout. So give me a timeout. Talk with one another. I'll be right back. I got to go check on the little monkey. You okay in here? You okay in here? Yeah, make me promise. For no reason, you put your head under the water. Okay? Don't dunk your head. As long as you want to play in the tub, I'm okay with that. Do not put your head up. Just like that. Stay like that, okay? Okay, how much longer are you going to be? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? Okay. When you get out, get your pajamas on and come out. Don't come out naked because I'm online. They see you naked. Okay. I'll check on you. Sorry about that, everyone, but you know, I needed to check on her. She's so quiet in there. But like I said, that concludes the thing. This video is not made for kids. They can watch it under the discrepancy of their parents, legal guardians, or grandparents. What a day. What a day. You know, keep your vibrations up. And as you guys can see, I'm in a pretty good mood. And I got a reason to be in a pretty good mood. When I picked up the little monkey, I left my car running so it'd stay warm for her because she's not feeling good. And I go into the school and I come back out and I went to take off and the car just didn't want to run like it normally does. And I thought, well, maybe I'm not getting the traction because the side roads, the town roads in Chabance are really, really bad. And I thought, let me get out on the main road. And I did, and I couldn't get it to go over 40. And I looked down, I see my battery was just low, the way the arrow was. And I got thinking three things: alternator belt, alternator, or battery. Alternator belt would have been the cheapest. It might have been the worst because it's so hard to get to. Alternator, expensive, like $500. Oh, you know, at Christmas time, I really don't have $500. And the battery, $140. So there's a gentleman that used to live right across the street from Amber and David and Ella, Liam, and Addison. His name is Randy, and he's the nicest guy you ever want to meet. I think that's one of the reasons I didn't like it when they moved over to their new house here, because I don't associate with them much now. And now that Addison is in kindergarten full time, That's pretty much the first time I've talked to him. But I called over there today. Now, I haven't talked to these people for 3 months. I seen them in the store about 3 months ago. But we've always got along good. And I called up Darla, and she answered the phone. And I said, Darla, I said, could Randy do me a favor? And I explained, and she says, he's on his way over. It wasn't a, hey, well, it's cold out. It wasn't a, no. He came over. We got the hood up in the car, and he said, see if it'll start. Well, first he looked, he couldn't find the alternator belt because it's hidden. The alternator, he said, okay, see if it'll start. I did, and it started up. He said, shut it off. We waited 5 minutes. He said, see if it'll start. I did. He said, ain't the alternator because it wouldn't start. It isn't the belt because it would drain the juice all completely out. And if the alternator's bad, it wouldn't recharge it. So he said, it's your battery. And then in there it said, I have this thing that goes across the front, tells me if something's wrong, check right back tire, things like that, And it said, battery malfunction. So he told me just to go to Walmart, get a battery, and hey, it's a lot better, $140 plus tax than it is $500 and some dollars. And a battery is going to be a whole lot easier. I talked to my daughter, who's going to be home here in a little while, and she said if we have time, she's going to run me in to get the new battery, and then I'll probably leave my car here tonight, and David will put it in the morning. I'll probably take her car or his truck home, and they'll take me home. I don't know how I'll get home, but I will. I always do. But that's my day, and guys, and I could be in a bad mood, but why? I'm not going to let it defeat me. I'm just not going to let them win. If I give in, then how can I come on the show and actually try to build up you guys' spirits? Have I been through some rough times here recently? Yeah. And some of the times I won't tell you what I've went through because it'll bring you guys down. But Ron knows what I've been through. You want to sit down by me? Pull up a chair. Say hi. She's out of the bathtub. She put her warm fuzzy pajamas on. Get over here, say hi.
Hi.
Does she look sick to you guys? She looks to me like a little girl that wants to spend time with her grandpa. Okay, sit down. So anyway, there's where we're at there, but where are we actually at, guys? Last night on Bruce on a Big Call, and I can't pull up what Bruce actually said, but I did listen to him, and I do have some ideas, and Iraq is supposed to go live today with the rates, and if you remember us talking about, I think it was Shababi, when he was in charge, Shababi said a long time ago that he thought there's no reason that we don't hit $14, $15, $16 or higher in rates there. And Bruce can't come out and say anything, but he says when he's hearing there's no reason we're not going to hit at least 16, and that might not even be the high rate that you ask for when you go to the redemption center. So with that being said, it looks good there. They were supposed to take care of everything, and I don't take for a grain of salt when they say they're supposed to take care of everything. Everything's supposed to be okay. Because the reason I don't take it with a grain of salt is because how many times have we've been told that this is going to happen. So if it happens, it happens. But as I keep trying to emphasize, it only has to happen once. Now, Bruce is still sticking to his guns that the $2,000 we're going to start getting the first of the year, and the Doge money we're going to start getting the first of the year. But there's a lot of people coming out. Bruce, Wolverine, I'm going to talk about Wolvie here in a few minutes. They're all in a thing that we're going to have a Merry Christmas. Everyone's going to have a Merry Christmas. That the hat is not going to let us to go on. Hi, Diane. VA, how you doing? Good to see you here. So something has to happen. Bruce is saying that we could get the numbers today or tomorrow, be in the Redemption Center, possibly Saturday or Sunday, or possibly Monday. And I know every show I do, and I talk about Bruce, I talk about that. But remember, it only has to happen once. Hi, Myrna. It only has to happen once. You want to get it back in there so they can see you again? Oh, okay. He was getting a little antsy there. Boop, boop. So anyway, he talked about other things and everything is looking good. And yes, we all get aggravated. And, I'm going to tell you something. The guy that come over and looked at my car, I said to him, I says, I hope you guys are going to have a good Christmas. He said, not what we expected. And I said, well, if our hat man, and I said the regular name to him, I said, if he'd get off his butt, he said, no. And I said, I know. He said, no, Ralph, it's not his fault. He said that sleepy guy, he left him in such a crappy situation that he's got to clean so much crap up. And it takes a long time to clean crap up. It's not like the crap that he's dealing with. You can go out and just flush it down the toilet and it's gone. It's literally the stint sticks with us. Now I don't know if you guys are noticing there's a lot of people, athletes, actors, congressmen, judges. There's a whole lot of them that all of a sudden, suddenly, it's not even, and I'm just going to use one person, and she hasn't passed away that I know of, but I'm going to use the term of a woman. I think she's a woman, and her name is Ellen DeGenerate. Yeah, okay. And it wouldn't surprise me if we heard that she's gone. A guy that used to be pretty good in basketball, 57 years old, just out of the blue, he went to bed and didn't wake up. It's not like they have cancer. It's not like they have heart failure. It's not like they have anything like that. Boop. It's not like they do that. It's just they're gone. And then Linda Scullion, she sent me a video today, and I was watching it. And it looked like it could be a good video because it had all these people name in. Now living in GITMO, now living in GITMO. Something happened to him in GITMO. But it goes so fast you can't see it. I understand people making them, and it looked like it could be a great video because I would have loved to have been able, if I would have had my computer and I could have been on my phone, I would have loved to play the video and read the people. Some of them are just living there because they found a new permanent life place. And the ones that are doing that are probably being very cooperative and coming down. But boy, this one gentleman that was arrested and everything that they have him on, and he got 9 years? And my goodness, we do 1/3 of what we do 1/1000th of what this man did, and we're going away for life, without parole. But it's just money talks. And I've talked to so many people here lately, about the money. And when people can get it in their head, the Bears, Papa G, that's right. Hopefully they can beat them Packers. I'm going to say it right today because of the kids. Especially since I got a 5-year-old granddaughter sitting here. I can't say it like I want to. But anyway, it's just we're in a situation here, guys, that we are so close. And Bruce, he does the best he can. The only thing bad about Bruce right now is he just needs to shit fire. Excuse my language. He needs to get rid of Sue and Bob. He needs to take his show. He's made enough money over the years. He needs to take his show and quit selling her products and quit selling Bob's products. He needs to take the show and do his show. It's called Bruce and the Big Call, but Sue takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. Bob takes anywhere from 15 minutes to a half an hour. And if Bruce does a 15-minute call, it's like, whoa. But he always ends it with, he's got to recap Sue. There's not a better time than to buy Sue's products. I'm sick and tired. I don't want Sue's products. I don't need Sue's products. Sue's products are nothing but a bunch of crap because she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's never sat in a redemption center, so she doesn't know what we need. Everything is speculation, and nobody should be able to make that kind of money off of speculation. Bob and his great products. Who cares about Bob and his great products? Put me on a bed, and I don't need the products. And how many of you people have went in a situation and you try to talk to somebody about the special beds? How many have done, Papa G, have you tried to talk to anybody about special beds? Was it Michael James? Have you tried to talk to anybody? I agree with you, Michael, but you know, a lot of people like him. That's why I talk about him. But you know, I've tried to talk to several people. My son the other day, and you know what he said? Because my granddaughter could use it. His little girl. She'll be 3 the 13th of this month. And I said, man, she could really use that. Well, I try not to get too confident. Until I see it, know it's true, I try not to be, you know, too high up on it. This is the same man that still believes in the Power Rangers. He really believes that they're still whooping people's butts. You know? Me, I give up on Marshall Dillon being the fastest gun in the West a long time. Have you ever noticed how everybody draws first, fires first against Marshall Dillon, but nobody can ever hit him? It's not that he's the fastest, he's the straightest shooter. Think about it, Sharada. Am I right? I mean, you guys, Vicky, you guys might even not know who Marshall Dillon is. You know, Gunsmoke? You know, it's just unbelievable. So Bruce, I thought was one of his better ones last night. If he would just do the big call, what he needs to do, and I'm gonna be 100% honest. And it's not that I don't like Sue. I've never met Sue. Sue did the Bruce and the big call the other night. She did the information, and I thought the way she presented the information was one of the best shows they've had. But she has products, her things that she wants to sell. So record her, give her 10 minutes to do what she needs to do. And just play the recording every night. Give Bob 10 minutes and then do it. And then Bruce, whenever Sue talks, and Bruce has to go in and give a summary. Whenever Bob talks, and Bruce has to go in and give a summary. And then at the end of the show, when Bruce has no more, then they have to go in and he has to summarize Sue again. It's never a better time. Why? The stuff that she sold 5 years ago is probably so obsolete. How would you like to bought her product for $199 5 years ago? And now she's selling 3 different packages, and she doesn't even remember what she was selling 5 years ago. I'm going to stay healthy, and when the time's right, I'm going to get on the bed. I'm going to get this little monkey here on the bed so she quits getting the flu. But in a way, it's kind of good that she gets the flu, because then her and her grandpa, we get to spend some time together. And I think that's why she gets sick. But, you know, it is what it is. But then the other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about here is Wolvie. And guys, I like Wolvie. I think he's a nice guy. I think his heart's in the right place. But he's got to, he'll come out and tell us. You know, Bill Woods, Janet, he'll come out and tell us that keep your vibrations high, keep your spirits high. And then he comes on last night. Now, he came on 2 days ago, and he said yesterday at 5 o'clock our time, he was going to be doing a show with somebody, and he had some really, really, really special information. But he couldn't tell it until tomorrow night. Thank you, Papa G. I think so, too. Papa G says you're really cute. That made her smile. But anyway, he had some really good information to share with us. And then when I listened to his video, all he wants to do is cry because people are making memes about him. I mean, he's got a big head, man. It's nothing wrong with it. He's got a big head. People are going to make fun of people. When you constantly tell people over and over and over, you got great information. When you constantly tell people that you're under an NDA, but you keep talking. I'm going to tell you, when I'm going to my NDA, I'm going to be quieter than a thing in church. And you know what I'm talking about. But it's kids watching this here, so especially a 5-year-old right here leaning up against me, so I better not say that. But she's sucking it up now. She's my baby. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna go into the information we have, and then I'm gonna end the show because I don't want to take up people's time when he's late getting started. But this is something that Ron sent me today. Marks the update of the 12/5/25. I continue to hear from a lot of hopeful people for today and tomorrow to receive bond dollars. My opinion at this point, because of Asia, we are already pushing towards Saturday. But even if they did get a release of their money, it would be Monday or Tuesday before they see it. They are awfully, awfully excited. Dr. Ben Carson on the hidden powers of the special beds. Did you know that special beds do more than just healing? I have witnessed incredible transformations. Oh, I lost it. Transformations, where am I at? Patients who once struggled with stiffness, pain, and fatigue are now experiencing increased energy, reduced inflammation, and renewed vitality. This revolutionary technology doesn't eliminate diseases. It doesn't just eliminate diseases, it also offers remarkable additional capabilities. Rejuvenation body can appear and feel 20 to 30 years younger, regrowth of lost limbs, regeneration of organs and body parts, toxins cleansing, complete detoxification of the body from heavy metals and harmful substances, DNA repair, elimination of genetic damage and mutations. Medicine will never be the same again, and people will be healthier than ever. Okay, now, he goes on to say, in my opinion, we are entering a major window. This is all my opinion, but I'm looking at the flow of everything right now. The movement we're seeing, the way the timeless keep tightening, and I can't shake this feeling. This weekend could be a big deal, and next week feels like the banks could open to all 4B. If that's the case, that gives us perfect 2-week runway before the holiday vacation begins. 2 full weeks to move massive number of people through their appointments. 2 full weeks to lock in what we've been preparing for. 2 full weeks to change lives before Christmas morning even arrives. All friends and timeline makes sense spiritually, logistically, energetically, humanitarian-wise. So let's stand in agreement and manifest this as a current timeline, not just for ourselves, but for all humanity. Pray for the following: families on the edge, parents praying for relief, children who deserve stability, nations preparing to rebuild, humanitarians ready to launch their missions, the good of all humanity. We are manifesting greed. We are manifesting restoration. We're manifesting activation. We're manifesting God's timing, meeting human need. So hold this vision with me. Sunday shift, Monday movement, December appointments, Christmas miracles. Stay focused, stay expectant. And I lost it. Stay aligned with the highest good. We've got this. Dream on, dreamers. Dream to dream and never lose your dreams. Don't comply, don't give in, and don't let anybody steal your dreams. Hi, Cynthia. Cole, how are you? How's that kidney doing? I'm going to tease you like that forever. So anyway, I thought that was pretty good. If you talk about this, guys, if you talk about these special beds, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Plain and simple. People's going to tell us we're crazy. You know what, Papa G, you know what the thing that I get the most when I try to talk to people about the beds? It'll never work. Big Pharma will never allow it to work. Now, wait a minute. Come the first of the year, from what I'm hearing from the hat, there ain't going to be no more property taxes. There ain't going to be no more Social Security taxes. Is there anything much bigger than Social Security? Property taxes? You know, they just love the fact that you own your property, but you got to keep paying taxes for it. Why? You know, and I'm not coming on this as something that I stumbled on through this times. I'm coming on this as something that I've wondered my whole life. Why do you have to pay property taxes on things you already owe? You've paid them for years, and you finally owe them, and now you got to keep paying? Or another thing that really rips my rear end is you take me and Ron. I have no kids in our school district. Ron has never had a child in a school district, but Ron's taxes, one half of his taxes that he just paid for the year 2025 was to go to the Herscher School District. Why? Why did they do that? It's just totally amazing. Now, I do want to talk about the special beds a little bit more because there was a gentleman on last night that did a video, and I've kind of talked about him today, about being so sensitive. But he started talking and telling in this video, the beds are ready. They're ready. But they don't only just heal. You got to be at the right frame of mind. Well, we understand that. But let me ask you something, Cindy. Let me ask you something, Bill Woods. I've had a bad day today. But still, when it comes to these beds, my mind is crystal clear. But if you don't have a crystal clear mind, if you're having some trouble, the beds can't heal you. And you know what I say about that? Hogwash. And I say that because I talked to Ron last night when I listened to this. And I said, Ron, I want you to listen to this. And he did. I said, what do you get out of that? He said, just this guy talking to make himself talk. And I said, exactly, because if you have to be... Now, guys, I want you just to listen to me, Kevin, John, Bill, Tom, Janet. I want you to listen to me. And if you have to be in the right mind, if your mind is not in the right place, the beds will not work for you. Right? The reason we're not on the beds yet, one of the main reasons, is because they've been using for the kids. For the kids, that everything that they went through down under. And I'm not talking about Australia. You guys know what I'm talking about. But do you honestly, in anybody's right mind, do you honestly think that when them kids got on them beds and got healed, that their mind was in the right place? I don't. What these kids went through, I don't believe in that certain penalty when it comes to people being punished, but I'd pull the trigger myself. You know, on my little cap gun, my little squirt gun. You understand what I'm saying? There's so many people out there that they just want to be heard, that they'll say anything. I'm not a big fan of Sky Prince. I don't like the way she presents things. But she knows more about these beds than any of us. So when I want information, I listen to her and I believe in her. Stick to what you know. I don't know anything. That's why I can talk about everything. I don't claim to be the smartest. But I'll tell you what, of the people I've talked about today, I definitely am the poorest because I would not take money from anybody. So what I'm trying to tell you here, I was hoping to read you Judy today, but it looks like my tablet won't let me go there. Let me try one more time real quickly here. So, well, maybe I am going to get in. See what Restored Republic had to say, and then I'm going to go check on my granddaughter and that. I'm glad we got the show in, guys. And, you know, I'm listening to Mark, and I'm listening. I seen a couple videos earlier today with Charlie Ward. And I'm not a big fan of Charlie anymore. I used to really be. I really did. If Ron, I haven't seen Ron's name on for a while. I know he was on. But Ron, I think you would agree with me that when we first got really involved in deciding we wanted to do something like this, I think Charlie Ward was a major influence. He used to have a couple of girls that come on the show with him named Julie and Carly from Down Under, and they were just the sweetest girls. And matter of fact, got me and Ron a shout out on Charlie's show one night. He wanted me to go on his show one night and talk to him, and I never did do it because I didn't follow up because there's just certain things that he did that I'm sorry, I can't go on anybody's show and promote it when they're making millions of dollars a year off of people who's struggling to make ends meet. And I'm not saying this just because I want to talk about people. If I seen them face to face, I tell them the exact same thing. For those people who's done this, hey, you did what you thought was right. But I hope our president thinks it was wrong. Like he said, anybody taking money will be dealt with. But it is what it is, and we're going to move forward. And remember one thing: if you get nothing out of this, remember one thing, that it only has to happen once, right, Kevin? So, this is Restored Republic Today, December 5th, with Judy Bidington, the author of 22 Personalities of Jenny Hill. On December 4th, 2025, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the currency revaluation began to unfurl, starting with certain Tier 4B ZIM holders summoned via quantum financial system. Sextillions in payouts have been given out for humanitarian projects to fuel redemptive works from coastal orphanages to inland adequacies. I'm glad to hear him say they're coastal orphanages because that's one of my projects, is working with kids in orphanages. As a matter of fact, Julie has got one right there in the town she lives in that we definitely are going to be working with. The debt jubilee descends at eventide Thursday evening, nullifying every fetter of debt across the globe. Homesteads, emancipated, infirmities, unchanged, inheritance, unclaimed, unchained in a flood of forgiveness. Special beds will awaken the waves beginning Sunday, 7th December. I did not know that. I heard it was going to be the 1st, but I think the 7th of December is going to be for the people going in early, and then for the rest of the world, I believe it's going to be on January 1. The event, EBS Global Blackout, 10 Days of Darkness, the emergency broadcast system activated at noon Eastern Time on Thursday, 4 December 2025. That's when the 17th letter gave the green light. 8-tone EBS best burst at 1800 EST on Thursday. Global blackout confirmed. The second wave is now moving. You are living inside the event. Pay close attention to the pattern: sun flare, grid flicker, broadcast distortion, global sync, then silence, then the truth. The final switch has not yet been pulled, but the finger is already on it from JFK Jr. private telegram. The military private Project Odin on Starlink EBS will entail 10 days of darkness running from Wednesday, December 10th. By the way, everybody, Wednesday, December 10th is Ron's birthday through Saturday, 20th December 2025, where 10 countries run international broadcast on internet, TV, and radio. I can't wait to see these videos. On the 12th of December, the red folder would come into play. Thursday, December 4th, global alert tier 4 escalation, red line crossed, quantum financial system on Telegram. And guys, there's a little more, but a lot of it I've already talked about. We're at 45 minutes. We're running late, and I need to get in and check on the little monkey. She went in to lay down, which is an indication she's not feeling good again. I want to wish everybody a happy weekend. Stay safe. Let's pray. Let's pray for the 800 numbers. Let's pray for the safety of our whole family, but everyone around the world, and put everything in God's hand and let him know that we're backing him 100% to go to heaven on earth and live long, long, meaningful lives as we was the generation chosen to be the leaders to do this. People talk about Donald, the hat. People talk about all these other people that they mean so much, but without you and me, without me and you, that we wouldn't have nothing here. It's good that you're back in what's 555. But guys, I'm going to call it a day. God bless every one of you, and we'll talk to you, if not before, on Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a great day. Love yous all. Patriot 5 and Patriot 6.